Welcome to the Catalyst for the Trades podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Bagley. I'm very happy today to interview one of the most favorite humans I have interviewed with. I just had the pleasure of being on Remy's podcast with Sales Blaster AI a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this kid is brilliant. I'm going to call you a kid for a minute because you're the same age as my
That's
son.
all right.
And I love you. But you are also the future that should be guiding every single industry because you guys have stepped into AI full force, are not fearful at all. You can see the future and you're making the right investments and moves to be able to help position your clients to be able to perform and win in a future they don't even know is coming.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. So tell me a little bit about you and your partner and how you guys got started. I fell in love with the story, but tell me a little bit about kind of how you guys are here.
Yeah, absolutely. So my partner and I, we both had a bit of an entrepreneurial kick in our own separate lanes. So my background, I actually, even before I went to college, I took a gap year and I went into commercial real estate. And during that year, I got a lot of great experience, got into the workforce, and had some great success within that. And went to 2 years in college, decided it wasn't for me. I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't successful there. I had great grades, but COVID hit, and I just decided I wanted to go back out into the world. I already had that real world experience, and so I jumped back into it. And I started a company that was real estate related. We supplied pre-foreclosure data to investors and wholesalers. And it was about that time and learning in that business that I kind of learned, as many people do in the marketing, that one, I had to learn how to do my own marketing. And two, I realized that these guys, they didn't just want the data, they wanted the meetings, right? They really wanted the extra effort and to provide that extra value for them. So it was at this crux point of, do I go out and hire a cold calling team? Do I figure out how to market to all of these pre-foreclosure leads? And it was about that time that a lot of the AI technologies were just starting to hit the market. And a super exciting time. There's so many tools. And I got into the AI voice arena. And Max, around that time, he had started out in a tech job working for the government on a team, and loved it for a while, learned how to work on a team, and also learned the kind of
why you didn't want to work for the government?
Yes.
Because they operate like a snail?
Yes, the corporate culture, as well as too many cooks in the kitchen. Sometimes they would spend hours and hours and hours just in planning meetings, when he's like, I could have had this whole project done by the time, by myself, by the time we were done with the planning meetings. And so he decided to burn the boats and go out on his own, and he started actually an email agency. And at that time, there were things coming along with AI as well. And then he came across the AI voice, and that's how we met. We met in one of the groups that was discussing AI voice. And me not having a super technical background, I had a potential client that I could not figure out how to deliver for them. And so I reached out to the group, and of hundreds of small agency owners, and some people just starting out and some people already finding success, Max was the only one to respond. And within 2 weeks of, I think, hopping on a call with Max the first time, I was on a plane to go fly down to Miami to meet him. Stayed 3 nights on a blow up mattress in his living room, and we really discussed our philosophies. We treated the business as our coming together. The joint venture is almost like a marriage. That is one thing that I've definitely heard from mentors that I've heard, because this is somebody that you're really, the metaphor, getting into bed with.
Yes, that's real.
Yeah, it is. And
his name is Max.
And we both wanted to be careful, and that's why I wasn't just going to do it. I wanted to go down there and meet him. And we've been all the better for it. And we even have like in our operating agreement, a spirit of the agreement, right? Where we outline how we want to treat each other, how we want to, respect each other's private lives. Things pop up, life happens. And we put it in words in the contract that when life does happen, we're going to be there to pick up the slack for the other partner there. So that's how we came together, and it's been amazing ever since.
I love that. Now, you guys had a pretty big opportunity you turned down. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So very recently, there was a company that was courting it in order to be able to kind of steal Max away from me. I mean, Max is the tech guy, right? He builds, and we had kind of entered into a somewhat of a relationship with this company, and Max was doing a little bit of work for them, and they saw the system that we were building. And they're a company that's looking to do multiple $100 million exits by the end of next year, and they wanted to include Max in that. They wanted to give him a large monthly salary, and Max turned it down, and he said, "Nope, I'm sticking with Remy. We're gonna do this thing ourselves." We've been bootstrapping it up ever since, and it's been a lot of fun. Some sleepless nights for sure, but very exciting as we continue to build and make our systems better. And
Don't give in.
Never.
Don't give in. Build your own exit. I love that. I love that. And you are so right. These are those entrepreneurial stories that wind up on the cover of some website. I almost said a magazine, and then I had to check myself. Wind up on the cover of some website right in the future. No, it's exciting. So you guys, kind of one of your first plays, weren't you guys in the political environment as well?
Absolutely.
So what was one of your first projects?
This is definitely one of my early contributions. During 2024, the Kennedy campaign, I saw they were struggling to get enough ballot signatures in order to be able to get Kennedy on the ballot. And at the time, we were fully focused on AI voice, and I thought, man, AI voice would just be a perfect thing to go ahead and get signatures. I didn't have a website. I didn't have an email set up yet. I mean, I called the main line of the Kennedy campaign, and there was a very nice Southern lady on there who said, "Darling, I don't know anything about AI. Could you put this on an email, and I'll send it to the right people?" And lo and behold, the director of fundraising emailed me back the next day. 2 weeks later, we were on a call. About a month and a half later, we were making thousands of calls on behalf of the Kennedy campaign for survey and fundraising purposes, and it was
outbounding, baby.
Yeah, it was a major success for us. It was a great test run in the political space as well. There's a lot less regulations for AI calling in the political space, which was very nice for us to just be able to go out and take advantage of those. Yeah, exactly. Funny how the loopholes are like pre-existed.
I don't even know how to. That's a whole nother podcast about that rigmarole,
definitely. But super exciting that we were just able to open up such a big door for ourselves, and that's the exciting thing about being an entrepreneur is fortune favors the bold. I think it was. Kind of like let's just see what happens and call the Kennedy main line. Like, I don't know who to reach out to at the Kennedy campaign, but we'll see. Yeah, let's try it.
Oh my God, I absolutely love that. So what you guys, obviously you're all in. So you have a very similar mindset to myself. I think there was just that moment when ChatGPT launched. I was sitting in Kauai, and I remember my kids called me. They're in their, at that point, like earlier 20s. And they were like, "Oh shit, you need to check this out. This is going to change the world." And that was the moment for us where I was like, oh my gosh, like agency business as we know it is over. Like just trying to fast forward and predict the future and see. And I was like, no, we can't be a service company anymore. This doesn't make any sense. Everything we're doing is going to change. I know you guys went through that same time frame, but where do you see the biggest impacts? Just short window, because it's hard to predict the future.
Yeah.
The future is the next 3 months now, right?
Yeah,
In this
seriously.
short window, how do you see AI impacting something like Google search, for example? I don't know. Did you see the announcement? The CEO of Google came out and said they were going to revamp the entire search engine results page, and it was going to become completely AI search ready. And this is like, it's imminent. It's coming.
Yeah,
Everything we know.
absolutely. AI is coming into every aspect of like how we interact with technology. I think, short term, we're going to start seeing like the large companies that we've been working with that everybody knows, they're going to be adopting more and more AIs. But something that I think is maybe not 3 months, it might be more like 6 months to a year, but it's going to be a major overhaul change. And this was something that I learned from kind of, he dubbed himself the global SEO expert on one of our podcasts, but it is going to be agent to agent communications.
Yes.
So,
Right.
let's say,
about that.
Yeah, I did. I think even on our last podcast, but it's one of the biggest things that not a lot of people are talking about yet. But I think it's going to happen. But let's say I want to go get a haircut. I don't have to book that anymore. I tell my AI agent to book me a haircut. It goes on to a website that's AI agent ready and books that haircut for me. Right. And I think a lot of businesses are going to have to very quickly adapt to be able to have their websites agentic ready.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's
So
go.
I think that's going to be
I'm
huge.
watching the channels. I'm watching everybody argue whether or not they want to deploy AI agents in their inbound calls. And because the humans that are calling in may or may not like AI agents.
Yeah.
And I'm literally like, hang on a minute. So what happens with the consumers who are using their little AI agent to call your company, and your people answering the calls are hanging up on the robot trying to book business with you? Like, hold on, this should not be the conversation we're talking about here.
Yeah, sure. I think as far as like AI voice on calls, we've seen like massive regulation come in on the outbound. I think just recently, actually, some of it got dropped. So I think it did free up a little bit, but still pretty strict. But at least on inbound lines, 100%. There are a lot of companies that are adopting this, and even I think Microsoft, they laid off I don't know how many thousands of people because they've gotten so good with their AI customer support. I think it is a friction point. It's should only be done if it can be done well. Is kind of my thought on it. If the AI agent can actually solve, let's say, at least 90% of the problems that people are calling with, and it can do it faster, 100% you should be using it. Even if some people are a little frustrated on the front end, if they can have their problem solved, I guarantee they're going to be happy, having an immediate conversation rather than being on a hold line for 30 minutes to talk to somebody and, still get their problem solved. But that instantaneous access. If their problems can't be solved, then you're going to have a major issue. People are going to be very upset with your company, especially if it adds time to problem solve. I've heard people talking to them. I called 3 times over 3 days, and I was locked out of an account and couldn't get back in, and it was like a major portion of my business, and it was because I just was screaming at this AI agent because I couldn't get it on, right?
Yeah.
And that person ended up going to a different company. Like it can be a problem. Sure.
100%. So you said Agentic-Ready. I've been saying this now for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of our competitors believe that ChatGPT is AI.
Yeah, right.
Which is just such an enormous. I'm like, did you just figure out ChatGPT existed? I'm really concerned. Like, preparing for an Agentic-Ready environment, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. As far as preparing for an agentic, the same way I view how, or I must imagine. I mean, I've never worked in SEO, but how I imagine SEO must be. anybody who's worked in SEO for 10 years knows that you have to stay on the very forefront. You have to stay updated. And you're going to be making constant changes and constant shifts in order to be able to keep up with how things change in search engine optimization. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be the exact same with, let's say, agentic optimization. Maybe that's what we start to call it.
Good. AO. I like that. Debit, baby. That's yours.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, there you have it, agentic optimization. But it's going to be something that really people need to keep their finger on the pulse in order to be able to keep up with it. Because you're going to have your first test betas, and then you're going to have optimizations as people continue to make it better and better, and different systems, right? That are it's not going to be just a single source provider. So being able to work with everybody, it's kind of like payment systems. Can you take American Express and the rest of them? Can you work with all of the different agentic systems that are out there and be agnostic? Is going to be the things that people are going to have to just stay in the know, or work with people that are in the know.
That know, 100%. So let me break that down for anybody that's listening. I'll give you a scenario. That the payment scenario was great, right? If you only offer cash and that's you're cutting off, right? If this is your piece of the pie, you're saying, I'm only going to work with a small group that's willing to pay cash, which is why you now offer financing, which is now why you offer credit cards, which is why now you take crypto. I'm just throwing it out there, or Apple Pay, right? So same kind of philosophy on conversions. If you say the only way you can convert to do business with my company is you have to call me and talk to a human Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or fill out this web form, and those are your only two options, you're taking that huge piece of the pie and you're just shrinking it into this tiny little scope of the things that maybe only you like, but there's an entirely segment of the population that would prefer to chat, prefer to call, prefer to send their AI agent out to your website to book, schedule online. Or, I'm really excited about this. Like, we're getting ready to launch. Should I do this now? Should I not do this now? All right. Imagine going to a website, and as soon as you get there, you tap a button and you just talk to the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be how you scale agentic conversions, right? If every page could have a conversation with you and you could just visit about that particular service, that's how it should scale. So one, you got to be able to convert with all different mediums on all different platforms, allowing the consumer to choose. And then two, like, that should become more advanced. The way I look at it is like, did you ever go to the fair and play the game that had all the horses on the different rungs, and you'd squirt water at the horse and they'd start
and they start yes
and they're racing? That's what's going to happen with technology right now. I don't know what's next, but it's whoever's got the most water squirting at their thing, right? You got to be able to shift and move and ebb and flow, because technology is going to evolve really really fast. How do you guys, for your own business, tell me a little bit about what you guys have developed and what's the rate of change? How quickly are you guys scaling?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the rate of change has been amazing for us. So, like I said, we started out in AI voice. Now we do those types of, like, click a button on the website agents, as well as inbound agents for literally all of our clients for free. Like, it's just included in our package. But what we saw is, when we were doing AI voice, the outbound AI voice was kind of not the way. In order to be able to scale and have success. And so we decided to pick different mediums. And so now we do email. We do very customized AI research on the front end for every single prospect that we're reaching out to, writing a customized message to them. And then an AI agent is what's conversing back and forth with them. And we stay human in the loop on that until we're 99% confident in that AI agent to be able to handle those responses. And then we hand it off. And it's been super exciting. we decided, because like I said, we started an AI voice. We built out our own platform for AI voice, so we're not dependent on anybody else. And it's a agnostic platform. We can use any voice provider we want. We can use any LLM we want. We were actually, I think, one of the first to be able to actually implement the real-time APIs, to where it's gets rid of the let's say the usual system of where it like transcribes it, sends it to an LLM gets a response, and then the AI reads it out. It's just like actually talking to an AI agent, just like talking on ChatGPT with their voice agent, or Grok with their voice. It's one-to-one with voice, and that was super cool. But we saw it as a race to the bottom, because most companies, they were either failing. I mean, there's still offers out there that are doing outbound AI. I don't know how. I don't think it's working. I think they're a little bit of scammers, if you ask me. So
there's a lot of that, right? There's a lot of that right now.
Everybody was switching to inbound, and we just saw it as a race to the bottom. A lot of these services, as they become, the barrier to entry becomes lower to get into these realms. It's going to be a race to the bottom on price, and margins are going to be cut down significantly. If you want to stay competitive. Otherwise, people are going to go to somebody else who can do just as good, or maybe even better job. So we wanted to stay in the outbound space, and it's been a shift. We have major plans to try out other channels in the future. Right now, we're just nailing this channel down to where we're hopefully the best in the world now, doing cold outbound email, AI customized, as far as, our end goal is that with it, using our system, we can meet you and talk about your business, and within 45 minutes, we can be sending out the first emails for your business that have AI personalized custom messages. Maybe even we create a lead magnet for you. We've created a funnel for you. We've created an inbound AI agent and a chat bot on that funnel, all included on one package. And we're doing all of that performance-based too. I mean, we're just trying to provide as much value as we can to our clients, and only charging them for the value they get. So
I want on the list, Remy.
I know, Jennifer. We want to bring you on and do amazing work for you.
I need to be your spokesperson.
Absolutely.
I got to implement it. I want to be the spokesperson. I want to be first in this industry. If anybody else does it, I'll cut them. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll just have to say, I had Jennifer on our podcast, and after, she was just so flattering. She is amazing. And she invited me here. Absolutely. It was a really, I called my partner Max after it. I was like, you need to go listen to the podcast I just shot with Jennifer. It was fantastic.
It's going to make my eyes water, like legit, because I love y'all so much. Well,
You're
first,
so
I have 20-somethings. I'm about to be a grandma.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I feel like they've been my 20-somethings. My son, his best friend, Alula, Liz, his fiance, his wife, his babies. Like everything about who I am has came from them pushing me to think differently, think out of the box, not be afraid of change. I mean, I got it from my dad, who was a crazy, amazing developer way before his time.
Absolutely.
I grew up with him. And then to see y'all out there, not afraid of anything, and to be first and foremost and launch your business and freaking bunk up in a room and say, let's do this, and not be swayed by somebody else's big dream. Like, it means everything to my whole heart. I'm so proud of you guys. I wish y'all were the ones that were leading all the stages in this entire industry, this space that we're in, because that's what it needs. It needs some young bucks to come in and say, look, the future is here. It's coming. Get on or move out of the way. Let me explain it to you. I'm just really freaking proud of you guys. You make me happy. You would come to a company picnic, I'd be happy.
Absolutely. One day we can put that on the calendar. I would enjoy that. I would say it's funny, the podcast that we have, we talk about the entrepreneurial journey, and then we talk about, the guest business, and it is eventually almost always leads up to that exact sentiment. of like, this is the future, and how are you shaping to meet this future? Because everybody in this industry knows, especially in the marketing space, that it's either hop on or get left behind. And there's kind of two sides to it, right? It's either you go out and find the best services, or you develop your own. And in those two, it works either way, right? I'm not going to say as a great agency that you have to develop everything yourself. But if you can find the best service to be able to plug into and move the needle for your clients,
do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's even better.
Yeah, I think
if we want to build our own platform, that's what we.
Yeah, I'm $2 million in, and I probably burned through the first $750,000 just learning, which I'd prefer to easily $750,000 I burned through just learning. Had the technology existed, I would have partnered with another company or an agency, or used that, then built it myself. I think if I was to go backwards to speed it up, because it took us 1.5 years to get where we are. I mean, we started developing our own.
Hey, Jennifer, if I could just say, I love where you are.
Oh my God.
I really think you're an inspiration that every agency owner should hear your story, because you were, first off, very early to the bat, I would say. And you went full force into investing and doing this, and look at the success that you've had with it. It's quite amazing.
I appreciate that. We had to learn. We had to learn a lot of hard lessons and we had to, because we were such an established agency. We had 320 people in this when we started. Now we're half. And everybody had an opportunity, but there was a lot of people that had their foot, one foot in, one foot out. They had to see it before they believed it. And I think that's a challenge with everyone right now. I mean, or with a lot of people, is I think there's a lot of misconception about, they keep hearing the word hallucinations.
Yeah.
And so they don't think they can trust AI yet. And I'm like, listen, you need to have intent when you're using AI. If you train a child poorly, you're going to get a poor child at the other end.
Yeah, garbage in, garbage out, 100%.
Right? So you're over there like willy-nilly just putting random stuff in there, seeing if you can get it to hallucinate. You will.
Yeah, 100%.
So for those people that are, curious, can they trust AI to do something accurately and so forth? What would you explain to them? What would you tell them?
I would say that exact line that I already said: garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you're putting into the system is what you're expected to get out. So what I would say is, if you have a specific use case, there are definitely a lot of things that you can do to guardrail around that specific use case. One of the inbound AI agents that we made was for a medical purpose. And one of the things that the clients really wanted to make sure of, because it was for a medical company, I should say, that the purpose of the AI was book appointments. But they could not have the AI giving any medical advice. Right. And so we spent, maybe 2 days. It did take some effort to get it right. But to where that AI agent, you could harass it like crazy, and it was not going to give you medical advice. You could talk to it for 30 minutes about something completely off topic, and we left the guardrail open for it to try to get outside of the context window of the conversation, and then ask a medical question. It was going right back to being, well, I'm not a doctor, I'm just an AI assistant. How can I help you?
Right.
And so it's really making sure that you are giving the AI all of the proper information that it needs to serve you well. And once it has that context, it's not going to go make something up. It's going to go to the easy thing of, here's the information I already have. It's very plainly written out for me of what I need to be, putting out there to the world and responding based on, this input that I got from the prospect, and, managing it that way. And as far as hallucinations goes, I'd say it's a short-term problem. It's not a
Yeah.
long-term type of thinking. They just came out with a paper where they feel like they've discovered a lot of the reasons for the hallucinations.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we discussed this, but essentially, kind of like on the SAT, you were penalized for getting a wrong answer, and so it was better to guess. Right. And so the AI, just the same way with the way they've been training these systems, it wins sometimes when it guesses, and it wins more times than not. So sometimes it guesses and it guesses wrong. And so they've been changing and messing around with these functions to be able to kind of wane that out of the system. And just watch it. I mean, it'll be one next generation, and hallucinations are going to be, very small portion or gone. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think there has to be a lot more logic applied to things. I was on a call with somebody earlier this morning, and he was like, well, I tried this platform for my inbound calls, and the first call I got, it did X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, how much time did you guys spend on training data? And he was like, well, they said they needed 7 days, but that's too long. I needed it done the next day.
Yeah.
And they said, I heard someone they said it could do. And so I was like, all right, so I'm just going to call him John. I was like, John, so you hire Mary tomorrow and you put her in a new position. How many training days are you going to give Mary? And what are you going to do if Mary doesn't get it right the first time? Are you canceling? Or is she fired? Is she gone? Is she out of there? Right? But once Mary's 100%. Trained, right? If you put time into Mary, i.e. little AI agent, and you train that AI agent, the difference between that AI and Mary, that AI doesn't drink too much. It doesn't have Super Bowl parties. It doesn't get sick. It doesn't get pregnant. It doesn't get married. It doesn't. It just gets smarter over time. So,
absolutely,
there has to be a little logic applied.
I think one good framework that we have implemented in ours, and maybe we use a little bit more usage as far as like when we're APIing into a certain model. But we don't really care because it's a very small cost versus the benefit, is one purpose per like touch point, let's say.
Keep it tight.
Yes. Keep it tight. So we may have these inputs and we have to go through some to get our final output. But rather than doing that all at once, we break it down. Step A, step B, step C, and just making sure step A is passing along the information to step B, passing along in the correct form to step C.
With an auditor and an orchestrator and a task manager and the judge. Yes, I think that's, you can tell if somebody knows what they're talking about with AI. If you go in and they've got this little N8N workflow that they've built, and it's like 4 agents doing 30 things a piece, like you're over, you lose. One agent, the tiniest function it can perform, let it do just that and make it perfect. You're going to see a big difference in that.
Absolutely. And like you said as well, there can be many things like auditing and judgments that are made and to be able to make sure that you're even having an iterative cycle. And that's one of the major, I would say, things is you want sometimes a pretty deterministic outcome to what you want. And so the guardrails that you put around it are going to give you the exact, let's say custom deterministic output that you want. And in order to get there from a non-deterministic system, because you'll run something through AI and you can run it again, you won't get the exact same thing out either time. And so that's where those checkpoints are extremely important, and as well as the way you prompt and the way you give data is just extremely important.
I was looking at one of our content writing agentic platforms output today, and we built an entire set of AI agents that are basically the auditors of every step. And we've got it to the point where it'll do the entire audit, and then if anything falls outside of those guardrails, it'll flag it and it'll say fail and turn red instead of pass and everything.
Yeah.
And one of the clients was looking at it and he was like, see, it failed. And I was like, it failed and it overflowed to the human And they were like, oh, that's responsible for SEO. And I said, no, the engineer that's responsible for the agent. And they were like, oh, got it. So there is a human in the loop. It's just a different type of human who's responsible for training that agent. Yeah. Oh
exactly. It doesn't go back to the human to rework. It just goes back to the system engineer to figure out what the quirk in the system was. Yep.
Yes. They were like, well, what happens if Google's algorithm changes? I was like, guess what? There's agents for that. Who can read it, follow it, interpret it, test it, and change the SOPs of the other agents. Oh, okay. So it's starting to make sense, but I think the first challenge is like right now, everyone thinks voice is this kind of thing that's out there on its own, and they don't. I think as long as people don't understand how the infrastructure, the architecture of all of the AI agents and how they all work together, that it's almost like hard to fathom.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that's super interesting about AI systems, let's say in general, is you can have a singular system, let's say a singular platform that can fit quite a few different use cases. So one thing that we did with our AI voice platform is we built a connection into CRMs, but then you have to decide, all right, well, what triggers what? Did they book an appointment? Did they have questions? Do we need to follow up? So like what bin does this call fall into? And I think what's cool about AI is we don't have to limit ourselves to certain bins anymore. If you have a typical company, when you're analyzing this information, you can throw it into whatever bin you want and get so hyper specific with that using AI to analyze the outcomes. And so that's something we built into the platform to where anybody can decide and define their own outcomes to a phone call and be able to disperse data that way. And I think that was something that we did rather early and built the system for that. And it was a major point in building our AI SDRs. Because sometimes we will have multiple agents that may get called upon with shared memory of the conversation, of course, but that serve different purposes. And that right there, that was like a mega jump for us, rather than having one AI agent that had all of the information and tried to handle all of the purposes, segmenting them out with these kind of, let's say,
like
nodes, router, like a router, really got our accuracy so much higher. And it's just so fun building this stuff.
So to put things in perspective, what you were just saying, so imagine having a system that was the long-term memory. You take whatever in your cortex, whatever, and pull it out, and that's your long-term memory, and that sits inside that brain. And then you have your short-term memory, and that sits inside another brain. And then these agents have the ability, RAG or retrieval augmentation, to go jump into that brain and pull out from that long-term and short-term memory, then apply the guardrails, the rules, the set of expectations. Like I'm pretty smart, but these agents knock the socks off me. My long-term memory is like
just RAG in itself. I mean, RAG technically isn't even AI, but I think it's so fascinating. Like it's like a vector database. What even does that?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Vector file.
But I finally, when I was early on in this, I had never even heard the word RAG before. I had AI explain it to me, and it was like, imagine the word bird is a vector on a graph. And all the other bird words are very similar to that vector. So you got cardinal, you've got wings, and so that's how it contextually looks things up. Is like when the vector is similar, then it pings what it matches. And I just thought that's so cool. Contextual lookups for the AI agents.
Brilliant.
It's so cool. Absolutely
brilliant. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're getting the 5-minute warning, which I could talk to you for the next 10 hours.
Easily.
Grab a cocktail and just keep rolling. So being we've got 5 minutes left, what would you like our audience to know, see, or do?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just continue to watch our journey. You can check us out, salesblaster.ai. We're going to be continuing to the podcast, the Autonomous Growth Show, and we have lofty goals. You know, we're up and running and plugging along right now, and we absolutely love it. But there are going to be opportunities in the future to work with us where we can come into an agency and, you know, with very little know-how, you can come onto our platform and be at just as high leverage of everything that we're doing internally right now and be able to implement that into your business and with your clients. And, you know, that is our end all be all goal, is to be an actual SaaS platform using the technology that we built. And I would just say, watch out for that future, because it's going to be coming, and it's coming fast. We've actually updated our timeline to even sooner to be able to chomp that bit off. So it's exciting time.
I'm in your corner, baby. Put me in the timeline. I want to be all in. Yes.
Jennifer, you make me smile. I love you. Thank you.
Oh, you guys are such a breath of fresh air from my little trades corner.
I can tell you've had to fight. You've had to fight through your way to round these corners to be able to implement this in your business. And I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. So
thank you. Yes, it's been an interesting journey. You guys are going to be absolutely freaking amazing. You guys are way ahead of your game. I'm really excited about everything that you're doing. You guys, for everybody that's watching, Krista, can we put their podcast up there as well? I know you guys saw Sales Blaster AI. Keep an eye on Remy and Max. These guys are doing big things. I cannot wait to see what's next. Hopefully, I'm the one bringing it to you for the trades.
sure.
You guys really impressive work. Like, I am so glad. There you go. Perfect. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, sweet. Krista, you're amazing. Thanks for
And actually, you can apply to be on our podcast there too. So if you're doing something cool with AI, you want us to show you to the world, we'd be happy to do it.
Speaking of which, how long have you been in business?
This exact project, less than 6 months, but Max and I have been working together for over a year.
And when did you start your podcast?
About 3 or 4 weeks ago. So not too long.
How many guests have you had?
Close to 40 now.
So for everyone watching, all of our little entrepreneurs, I love y'all wholeheartedly. But like, this is marketing today. This is content marketing, getting out in front of there, building your authority, building your domain authority, building your brand authority, meeting people, networking. You go to an event, it's fall time. So in the trades industry, everybody's going to start running around to conferences. You go to one event, you pass out some business cards, listen to some people on stage, takes home some tchotchkes for your kids to play with or for the trash, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Or as an entrepreneur, you build a forum like you guys have in your first 6 months. Now you have 3 weeks, 40 podcasts. You got content, you're building domain authority, personal authority, brand authority. You're getting out there. You didn't have to get on an airplane. You didn't have to pick up any unwanted coffee cups and koozies and everything else.
Absolutely.
You're investing your time in things that matter and move the needle. So again, congratulations. There's a lot of business owners that have been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, still trying to figure out how to get out to the masses. You guys are doing it right out of the gate. This is the next generation of entrepreneurs. It's going to come in and kick our ass if we old people don't get our stuff together. I'm just saying.
Not you, Jennifer, not you.
Oh my goodness. Well, congratulations, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Catalyst for the Trades podcast. And I'm so blessed to have you guys on here. Please keep me in touch with your story. Get on my calendar. I want to keep, I want my thumb on the needle. I want to know where you guys are doing.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jennifer. And thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you, Krista, and everybody behind the scenes.